any experience in life, it's what you make out of it. And in this video, I'm gonna help you make the best out of your time during your internship or junior position or whatever starting position you're doing, basically. I'm a computer science student at the University of Calgary, and right now I'm doing a 16-month internship at IBM, which is where I'm at right now. The office is right here, Markham, Ontario. The team that I'm working at is called Skills and Network. You can see here, hopefully. With that out of the way, let's begin. First things first is related to imposter syndrome and the feeling of belonging in a team. So not every day obviously is going to be a good, fun day. Some could feel tiring, exhausting. Sometimes you're going to feel like you don't belong. And it's especially easy to get into that train of thought when you're the least capable of doing your job compared to your team, since you're new. But remember, each one of your coworkers were in the same situation as you are right now. So if your coworkers have any sense of empathy, they will understand what you're going through and do their best to help you. But you need to embrace the position of a learner, ask questions, be curious, and when asking questions, make sure you give them all the important context and what you've already tried, so you both wouldn't waste time asking questions that could have been pointed out in the beginning of the conversation, whether it's chatting, calling, or talking face to face, but especially chatting, because that could be a time waster if you don't do it efficiently, effectively. And another possible way you could feel imposter syndrome is just generally being around very accomplished people. That's especially for, let's say you're working at IBM, for example, or any top tier company, a big top tier company. And that could be from social media. Oh my God, there's a basketball court. We'll walk to it right now. Could be from social media platforms like LinkedIn or Twitter, and in person. But you have to remember this. If you want to be great, then you have to surround yourself with great people. Instead of comparing yourself with them, as the quote says, comparison is the thief of joy. See them as role models instead, inspiration, mentors, and even better, friends. Because, as the quote says, show your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you your future. Also, you're literally in the leagues of people like them. That's something to be proud of and be grateful for, that you're surrounded with these kinds of people. It's also good to remember that each person, including yourself, had a unique upbringing, struggles, problems, family, whatever, etc. There was so many circumstances that you had no control over, which created and erased certain opportunities that you had or could have had. So it would be unfair to compare yourself to others. And we have arrived at the basketball court. Next advice actually comes from one of my teammates too, and I'll further elaborate on this too. Your opinion matters not only to the team, but to yourself. And if you have something to say, just say it. You get a discussion going and feel better that you contributed to the end. I really agree, because when you have something important to say and you don't say it, we internally tell ourselves, nah, they don't care about my opinion. And that thought right there could also be the source of imposter syndrome, or feeling like you don't belong, which arises the feeling of separateness instead of oneness, which I will be talking about in a few minutes. On the other hand, if you did actually speak up and contribute to this conversation, it increases your sense of oneness and belongingness with your team. And I've noticed that feeling like I belong to the team and I'm part of something bigger than me, that really increases my motivation to work harder. And it kind of makes work feel less like work when you feel that team spirit. Just like a basketball game, basically, or any sport where we all have the same goal in mind, which is to win. It's fun, right? And that leads me to the second point, which is, even when you have a chance to work fully remotely, I still personally come to the office every now and then, just to keep that team spirit alive. Next advice is related to planning and learning. I think one advantage of being in an internship, it's a good time to learn how to make good progress in your work in the most efficient and effective way. One thing I like to ask myself when I get assigned a new task, especially when it requires me to learn something new, is how can I gain the most knowledge and at the same time complete the task in the fastest way possible. It's good to reflect on that before throwing yourself into a task. Don't just go straight to the task. Get the necessary background information first, and that could range from understanding how a framework works to asking senior developer or whoever the senior guy is for you guys who's familiar with, let's say, a piece of code that you have to debug, and ask him to explain that piece of code for you. There's so many times I was stuck at this tiny step, and getting past it would allow you to finish the task. If there's a chance someone can easily help you with that step, do it. Ask it, instead of spending hours trying to figure it out by yourself. Let go of your ego and save yourself and the team hours of wasted time. Another thing is to always overestimate the expected completion date, especially when you're working on something that you haven't done before. I struggle with that to this day. So in summary, plan. Basically, just plan. Next is know your why, which is the same as having a plan, which was the previous one, but that's in relation to your life, not just for your day or for your week. As Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, once said, once you know your why, you endure anyhow. It's good to remind yourself sometimes of why you're doing all this. I love these. They're so cool. Let's sit down, actually. Yeah, it's good to remind yourself of why you're doing all this. And it better be intrinsic. Like mine right now, for example, is I want to build impactful softwares, hence the work I'm doing, and share my deepest of insights and knowledge that can help people in any way possible. Hence this YouTube channel. And this is my why that fuels me to continue on working day in and day out. And I encourage everyone to find their own why, their purpose, because if you don't, what I realized is life will actually give you a purpose that you never picked. And this could come in forms of addiction, for example, to social media, pornography, money, sex, you name it. If you'd like to discover your why, I'd recommend to check out the book called Find Your Why by Simon Sinek. Now, after you've figured out your why on a high level, try to align it with your why within your work, in your internship. Reflect on why you're doing this internship, what you want to get out of it by the end of it. Set goals you want to accomplish by the end of your internship related to work and your personal life. And from these goals, set systems that give you the ability to consistently get closer to completing these goals, because setting goals is not enough. These could help you find what you want, but setting systems help you get what you want. If you want to learn more about setting systems, just search up James Clear setting systems. Just search up James Clear setting systems or systems versus goals. He has a book that kind of talks about it called Atomic Habits. But if you just want a summary of it, YouTube's filled with these kinds of content. Now, money management and investing in yourself. For a lot of interns, getting that amount of income is pretty new to them. So it's a perfect time, in my opinion, to learn money management. It's one of the most important skills to have in life. So there is no better time to learn it than now, since you're earning a lot right now. At least more than you used to get. I'm not going to give any money advice because I'm also trying to figure things out. But what I try to save money for is mainly for two things. One is unique experiences, because I realized that the biggest lessons I learned and the most I've changed is after going through unique experiences, and also setbacks and failures. And the second one is investing in yourself. As Alex Hormozy once said, don't invest in the S&P, invest in the SME, especially when you're young, which basically means investing in yourself and skills, because no stock can compound in value more than your own value as you grow older and gain more skill and experience. Investing in yourself could come in different forms. Most obvious way is like learning something new by taking a course, or getting better at communication, public speaking, storytelling, or investing in some good ass clothes, like a suit or a dress or whatever women get, I don't know. And also signing up for a gym membership, because the reality of how the world works right now is good things tend to happen to good looking people. If you want to learn more about investing in yourself and how it could benefit you, check out Alex for Mosley stuff. Next, advice, let's go sit somewhere else, is the new environment and its opportunities. I remember in my first 2 months, I used to wish that I worked remotely and stayed in university, where I had my friends that I knew, that I was close to, just have fun with, and the lifestyle that I had in there, I just figured it out, you know? It was my second year, third year of university, so I'd like to stay there. New location unlocked. Actually, let's keep walking. You don't notice what you have until you lose it. We know that, right? But here's the thing. We also don't notice what we could have until you get it or can't get it anymore. Let that sink in. There are probably so many opportunities that you still don't see or mentally consider. You can know it exists, but acting on it is the hard part. When you accept and fully embrace the fact that you are in here is when you start acting on them. I think this could be explained using the terminology of oneness and separateness, which I mentioned before. For example, if I'm at the beach, but my mind's thinking of the work that I have to do tomorrow, that's separateness. My mind's somewhere and my body's somewhere else. But if it said my mind's quiet and I'm just fully, naturally enjoying where I'm at right now, which is, let's say, walking, or in that case, in the beach, and vice versa, right? So if you're at work, thinking of the beach, same thing. That's oneness within yourself. But there's also oneness with the people around you, humanity, you can say, which I won't be talking about now, but you can check out this really good podcast episode that talks about it. I'll link it in the description. But back to the topic. Going to a new environment is one of the best ways to change for the better. You know no one knows you, so you get to be whoever you want without any social pressure. Well, there's always going to be social pressure, but it's significantly reduced. You also get to see yourself in a different environment, which makes you learn a lot of things about yourself. But it all starts with you feeling oneness within yourself and where you are. When I first moved to Toronto for my internship, I did tell myself that I want to make the best out of this experience. But it took leaving the city for more than a month and working remotely basically, and coming back now to finally feel oneness and accept that I'm in Toronto, I'm in here, and there's so many opportunities that I have in here that I haven't mentally considered, which makes you notice what you're really missing out on. And one thing that could help with finding what you're missing out on so you can make the best out of your experience is asking yourself, or doing this activity basically once every week, every month, every day, if that works too. Visualize yourself at the end of your internship on the airplane or car going back to university, let's say. Ask that future self of yourself, what is something that I should have done more of or less of during my internship? What do I regret not doing or doing? Take some time to reflect on that question. Deeply reflect, because surface level thinking won't provide any insight and make you realize what you're really missing out on. Embrace being new. Feel free to speak out and offer your opinions during meetings. You offer a different and new perspective to the team they might or might not see because they've been working on it for so long. This is written by one of my coworkers, and I will further elaborate on this point. This is specific to people whose position is not related to tech, but they do work in a tech team. For example, someone who's in the market, who's a marketer or UX UI designer. This is specific for these kinds of people. I think you guys have a superpower called not knowing how to code. For us engineers, we've been doing it for so long that the way we think changed and adapted to what we do in our day-to-day basis, which is code. And because of that, our brain sort of got trained in this logical way of thinking, and that kind of hinders the way we think when we try to generate new ideas. And that's where the problem is with us. Our logical way of thinking really hinders our ability to think big and out of the box, to come up with crazy ideas. But on the other hand, designers, marketers are not quote-unquote poisoned by this way of thinking. This is something that I told our UX UI designer, Oz, Look at this cute river. Let's continue. Yeah, that's what I told him when we first worked together, and he had an amazing design. And I think one of the reasons that helped him do these designs just beautifully, that none of us developers slash software engineers could come up with, is because of the fact that he does not know how to code. Most of these insights were generated through reflection and journaling that I do in Obsidian. If you're interested to know how I did that and why you should do that, you can check out these videos. I'll just say this one. I also have a video of the biggest life lessons I learned in my first year of my university, which was also generated through journaling and reflection. Thank you for listening. Appreciate that. And if you know someone who's starting their first internship, I'd appreciate it, and the person would appreciate it if you shared it to them. And also stay tuned for my next videos, which are going to be how I got this internship and a day in life in my internship at IBM. But until then, enjoy your life and smell grass, but not weed. This grass.
This what? Grass?